Welcome back. Time now for the newspaper review, and joining me in studio is Eugene Anangwe. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Lion Imanzi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Long time.
Long time no see, but definitely here.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, so let's quickly get into the newspaper review segment. What do you make of the last story that I just read about the bushmeat in West Africa being the cause of the Ebola outbreak in West Africa?
Interesting, because when you're used to something, it's very hard when someone tells you, you have your source of meat, which is the bush.
Yes,
and then all of a sudden, you need to explain to your wife, today you will not have to eat meat, or the whole of this period you won't eat meat again.
Yes.
Because we cannot continue eating bushmeat. It's not going to be easy for some of those families to understand this, because if you still have people who go to the bush to hunt for you named certain animals there.
It reminds me of a story I think that happened in Senegal, if I'm not mistaken, where one I think it was a shark or one of these big fishes that died. And then for a couple of days, slowly was pushed to the shore.
Yes.
And then the population in that area is so poor that people told them, but from the time this thing was dead, if you cook this meat, you're gonna get sick. And people are saying, but what's the alternative? So it goes for the same thing with this one. It's like that's their source of food. So if you can tell them that, but if there is no alternative, for some of these guys, they have no choice. They will still eat it, and that's very sad.
But in this time and age, people still go to the bush.
Yeah,
to
but
get meat?
yes, this is, and in fact, it's one of those things that they do to tune a lady. There they say chasing the ladies. So when you're chasing a girl, you need to bring that rodent and hold it like this for her to feel
myself.
Yes, to feel like you did a very a big achievement. So it's going to be tough, as Lion says. But again, the question is, if we're talking of alternative, do you want the government to deliver meat to every every household?
It's impossible, and that's why it makes it very difficult to deal with. The only alternatives would be to teach people and to accompany them in trying to change their nutrition. Trying to look for themselves, look for the other alternatives, turn to other things. And maybe sometimes, populations that are very used to meat, sometimes when you tell them, eat vegetables instead and fruits, they're like, really? Yeah, you try that first.
And also that brings me to the other question of, should we be worried because we are also eating meat, and it's just in neighboring
they
Uganda.
were specific bush meat.
But
I don't think the cow I ate yesterday was from the bush.
If you've done your research you should know that this meat was first found in Uganda and Congo.
Yeah, but that was then. But now it's not there.
I think here there are two things that should probably not make people worried in Rwanda. Is that we are very discriminating in what we eat. We don't eat much. Really? We're not really big meat eaters in Rwanda. So and people are discriminating in the sense that people eat goats, they eat cows, they eat very classic chicken, farm animals. So usually people don't actually. Some of our neighbors laugh sometimes. Say, you know what? Maybe you guys are spoiled. That's when you start running out of these things, maybe you'll learn to eat the other bush meat, as you said. But we shouldn't be that worried here.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But that being said, someone once made brochettes out of dogs, and people really enjoyed them.
Yeah, it was
yummy. They didn't know. They didn't know.
Dogs.
Oh, they ate without knowing. You would eat anything if you don't know.
On that note, I'm officially stopping to eat meat. But that's devilish. How can you cook a dog for someone to eat, really?
This guy was just trying to make a living, and people were enjoying. And when they brought him to that, if the people in that area, they put him to task. They say, "Why did you do that?" I say, "Okay, before I answer, can anyone tell me if they didn't enjoy? One, and two, if they got sick?" None of them.
Yeah, there was no proof.
A whole lot of people in China eat dogs. And they are doing well.
And it's not devilish.
Okay.
It's doggish.
Okay, so if we could quickly go through the stories on the New Times. The top story is Parliament going on recess and some unfinished bills that are being carried forward. You have the Obudehe that has been there since time immemorial. You have the family bill. What's your take on the way Parliament works? You had some 2 members of Parliament. You had a one-on-one and candid chat with them.
It was 1 on 2, eh?
Yeah.
About the Parliament and how it operates, what came out from the interview yesterday, there is need, and even the conversations that continued on Twitter about MPs and how they operate and how they should operate. I think there's need for awareness creation, not just on them. I mean, not just on the population, but even on them. They need to also fully understand. There are those who don't probably know or can't even articulate properly what their mandate is.
Yes.
So there's need to even explain more to the public, what is your role? And also the public needs to be out there to ask for this kind of information. They need to demand to know some of these people that we elected, or some of these people who are picked to represent us. We feel probably they're not representing us well, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to be done for us to fully understand what exactly they do. Because at the end of the day, you'll find that some of them have certain allowances, which is coffers money. It is your tax. So it is your right to ask for the information you need to know. It is your right to follow them and find out what are they doing. So as they go on recess with the family and persons bail pending, there is need to understand that some of these things need to be understood. Even what is the family, what is, and persons bail for the population. Most of us don't really understand what are these things.
Absolutely, and there's something I think Rwandans in a general sense feel very, very detached to their parliament because of what you just mentioned. You don't know who they represent, what they represent. It's not the classic way that we know parliaments are anywhere in the world. That normally they represent a certain region, so you know that they would be required to go to that region and know what are the challenges, what are the problems, what do they need, and they would know how to advocate it in parliament. So it's very difficult when you don't have that connection, when you didn't pick that one person, when it's a list that was given to you. So I think many people feel detached, and as a result, they don't really follow. So some of these things we don't really know. We're like, okay, well, they were picked. So same way, maybe they like for myself, I would like to give it a chance, but I don't really quite understand it, how it works.
You'd love to be an MP?
No, I'd love to know. I would love to believe that they are actually representing something. But to me, it's a bit too broad, but I'm an open-minded guy. So I'm like, okay, convince me that this is the way forward. Convince me that you are really tackling all the issues the way you should be tackling them.
Okay, so another story is the US Africa Leaders Summit that is currently going on. A lot of things have been happening. We have the Mauritanian president saying terrorism and security require a global response. We have Kenya is already bagging some goodies with 1.23 trillion worth of investment goodies already being proposed to go to Kenya. And
so the son of the land has finally come through, eh?
We have Kagame saying we should not just focus on the speeches. We
and
need people to... What's your take on these stories that I've just mentioned? Starting from the terrorism and security require a global response.
I'll start first by the naming of the summit, US Africa Summit. Why not Africa US Summit? Okay, fine.
Because
whoever
they're
decided
the ones who invited.
it's home and away. Eh?
If you start a business, you'll call it Anangwe and children. You'll not say children and Anangwe.
Fair enough. But of course, looking at this kind of goodies that are already coming in for some of the countries, it's exactly what we had talked about here, even on one-on-one with our analyst who was here, that those who will be sharp enough, because you have very many leaders and very many opportunities out there in terms of those who you want to talk to give you or work with you or partner with you. So those who will be sharp enough to run to these opportunities and convince are the ones who will benefit. But I'm so sad that you say Kenya is already bagging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought that probably the East African bloc will go and talk as a unit. It would have been better when you hear that the East African community is going to get this kind of billions
Yes,
in
exactly,
investment,
exactly.
rather than Kenya is going to get this or Rwanda is going to get this. If we went there and talked as a bloc, it would have been better.
I think that's the trouble with Africa in a general sense. Is like coming back to what President Kagame said, it shouldn't be a platform for just speeches.
Yeah.
But we're very good at that. We're very good at making speeches.
Yeah.
We make speeches here before going to the US. We talk about African unity. We are a lot of African heads of states these days are calling on that spirit of Pan-Africanism, but just to save their own agendas in their own countries, but they don't walk the walk. They know how to talk the talk. So it should have been that, okay, the US has invited us. Here's what's going to happen. Let's convene as these regional bodies and as the continental body and decide how we're going to talk to these guys. Let's give them some terms before they tell us anything of how they're going to deal with the continent. But if they went as
everybody on their own,
everyone in their own jets, and then you get there, of course you're going to negotiate with some of these businessmen, have your own deals, and you're good to go. But it should be that's the trouble. It should really be, especially these regional bodies. I totally agree with you.
From the regional scene, also we have one quick one. Mama Sarah Obama's home is to be gazetted as a tourist site. Do you think it should, do we need such tourist sites? Like in Rwanda, do we have sites like where the king used to live?
Yeah, we have where the former president used to live, right?
Yes. So all of these things, where the former president used to live, where the form, what they used to call the residence, so in colonial times, they have all those things. You know, I'm one to believe that history, good or bad. It's good to embrace it and try to understand it and move away from controversy and instead try to. So I think it's not a big deal. It's not somewhere I would go to. I don't really care for that. But some people might be interested to say, hey, where did Obama come from? So it's not bad. Capitalize on it.
Time is up, and Albert is joining us now.
So we're giving ourselves we're gonna have a 1-on-4 or 1-on-3, a 1-on-3.
Plus our cameraman. Yeah. Plus
what worries me is that you say the one looking at me. Well, I look like I'm the guy who can handle 4.
Hey.
Yes, 1 inside, 3 outside.
Yeah.
Just one thing. Did you guys talk about Exodus?
No, movement of Ja people.
Movement of Ja people. Can you imagine? I mean, there's a new movie that came out called Exodus.
Yeah.
They should have listened to the to the Bob Marley song. Exodus is about Moses being in Egypt and blah blah blah, and everybody there who matters is white, and all the slaves are black. Can you imagine? I mean, and they're talking about Egypt when Egypt was black.
Exactly.
Completely.
No, I was talking to some guys here yesterday, talking about the research that has been done by one very erudite Senegalese guy called
Cheikh Anta Diop,
who said, okay, let's say that places like Egypt were influenced by Europe. Let's say that. Let's suppose that the reason why it's different from sub-Saharan Africa is because of that influence. If I influence you, then surely what you find in my place, what I find in your place, if I influenced you, should be found in my place. You should have copied me. So where are the European pyramids? Nowhere to be found. The only obelisks they have are the ones they stole
imported,
from Ethiopia.
Yeah. And all from Egypt.
Or from Egypt. Yeah.
But the other thing also is that, I mean, not just Cheikh Anta Diop, but it is obvious, it is in your face. I mean, they have so many monuments and pieces of archaeology in the US, and it portrays everyone black.
Exactly.
So you could imagine having Denzel Washington, right?
Playing George Washington.
George Bush.
George Bush, yeah. When Denzel Washington will play the role of George Bush, then I will accept that the Pharaoh is black.
It's
white.
very interesting. There's a number of controversies that happen like that. Let me just say that quickly so we don't waste time. time. So
we never
it's
waste time.
now Exodus. There was also that controversy with a movie called Noah, about Noah's Ark. And people said, okay, how come in the cast everyone is white? Now the director tried to divert that unwanted attention, saying, you know, we thought about that and we thought it's going to create controversy now if people are going to pick and choose, say, why is this one black? Why is this one white? Why is this one
everyone
Asian?
went
So
white.
we decided we just go one color. And I said, okay, sure. Why white?
So
yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that has been the newspaper review. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making it this morning.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.